And a pleasant good evening to you. Welcome inside Joliet, Illinois, where we have the stage set for a three-game series between the Slammers and the Evansville Otters. Another good evening to you. I'm Matthew Will, joining you here on the Otters Digital Network. Once again, Evansville fell last night behind a wonderful performance from Windy City starting pitcher Adam Wheaton. He went 8 1/3 innings, almost had that complete game, and it was his first professional win. He looked really good on the mound. Evansville could not manage any offense except for a Tanner Craig solo home run, the first one of the rookie's career. The former U of E standout finally got one to go over the wall for his first professional homer, the first of many, I am sure. But Evansville fell in the game 6-1. Certainly a disappointing way to end that three-game set. But the bright side about baseball, you get to turn the page and face a new opponent every 3 games, and this time it is the Joliet Slammers, who are a team who is hungry to get back in the playoff talk. As we come into the day, Joliet's a team that's kind of sitting on the outside looking in, but keep in mind the path from the outside in is not very far. Right now, Evansville sits 8.5 games out of first place Washington. By the way, Evansville is the second place team, 8.5 games out of first. Washington starting to run away with this West Division. Schaumburg just a half game back of the Otters, which means if Evansville falls tonight and Schaumburg wins tonight, for the first time since early June, Evansville will fall behind into third, fall out of the top 2 spots, of course, for the first time since early June. Boy, would that really hurt the Otters, especially with this Joliet team and Gateway and Lake Erie right on the tails of a potential playoff spot. As of right now, Joliet sits 4.5 games back of Schaumburg for the final playoff spot here in the West Division. This is a series that if it goes the Slammers' way, they could find themselves in a playoff spot depending on how things go around the league and, more importantly, around the Western Division. But if you're Evansville, you got to keep your head on one thing. You're in a playoff spot right now, and if you continue to win baseball games, you are going to stay in a playoff spot. You control your own destiny, and you've got to hold on to that for as long as possible. Like I mentioned, Washington leading the way. They were the first team in the Frontier League to hit 50 wins last night. They're at 50-25. Got 21 games left on the schedule, a magic number of 14. As we look through the rest of the Western Division, of course, Joliet, Gateway, and Lake Erie all on the outside looking in closely. Then there's a big gap down to the Florence Yalls, and an even bigger gap down to the Windy City Thunderbolts, but neither team is eliminated from contention quite yet. Over on the east side, Quebec got another win, keeping themselves at about an arm's length away from second place Ottawa, who sits 4 games back. Sussex another 2 back at 6. And then New York, Tri-City, and Trois-Rivières all sit within a game and a half back of the playoffs. Boy, has it gotten really exciting over there in the East Division. I think that the East Division, obviously, other than Empire State, who's already been eliminated from contention, all 6 of the teams, other than Quebec, obviously, all 6 of those teams could land anywhere in those top 3, depending on how this last month goes. And I honestly think that we might be in the final weekend of the season, that first weekend of September, and we won't know who the playoffs teams are quite yet in that East Division. Should make for a lot of fun, but of course, you can't make it to that point in the season until you've made it past tonight. And Evansville is getting set for a 3-game series against the Joliet Slammers. Starts here tonight from beautiful Dooley Medical Group Field here in Joliet, Illinois, one of the nicest ballparks I've had the pleasure of visiting this year. Reminds you a lot of Schaumburg Stadium, which is not too far from here. That's because they were designed by the same architect. The big difference, obviously, is the color of the metal and everything around the stadium. All the stanchions here are in black, as opposed to Schaumburg, where everything is more of like the white coloring. Even the sides of the press box, everything here is black. So it just makes it a little different feel. They do have a very short porch to right field, 327 to the right field corner, 348 to the left field corner. Both of the gaps are going to play at about 370, and then dead center is 400, much like the only confines of historic Bosse Field. This is an all-turf surface as well, which the Otters have become well acquainted with this season, as so many teams in this West Division have these turf fields. And historically, Evansville has struggled on these turf fields as well. They'll look to turn that page and turn the page on a season in a series that they absolutely need to win tonight. And it all starts with game one. Game one has been a historic good game for Evansville all year, so we'll see if they can ride the arm of Justin Watland, who is set to get himself a start tonight. Watland has carried a strong season into tonight after having a couple of weeks on the injured list. Just a few weeks ago, he came back last week and had his first opportunity on the bump. In the game against Gateway, it was a no decision, 5 2/3 innings. He gave up 2 runs on 3 hits, striking out 3, walking just 1. And the Otters would have won the game had it not been for the lack of run support. Evansville was only able to put 2 runs up. Of course, the game was tied at the time that Justin Watland exited the game. He's 4-3 overall this year with a ERA that sits pretty comfortably at 3.84. Elsewhere on his season line, he's got 82 strikeouts, which has him up there in the conversation with the league leaders. And for much of the year for Watland, it's kind of been focusing on limiting the walks. Of course, it's that for every pitcher, and especially for the Evansville pitchers this year. But the games that Watland limits his walks are the games he's historically better in. So that's one of the things I'm going to keep an eye out for what he can do tonight. We are just a few minutes away from first pitch here from beautiful Dooley Health Center Field in Joliet, Illinois. Otters and Slammers coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network. Don't go anywhere. First pitch is next. Evansville Otters baseball on the Otters Digital Network is presented by our friends at Working Distributors Evansville. And with that, we want to turn your attention to the mound and introduce tonight's starting pitcher for the Joliet Slammers, Cam Ofterhide. Will get the nod. I tell you what, there's not a lot of bad things you can find in the record for Cam Ofterhide. He's been consistent all year long. In fact, he was recognized by the league a couple times for how strong he's been. Officially, the record's at 6-6 due to a couple of tough starts for him. His ERA does stand at 4.18, though. Ofterhide is in his second year with the Joliet Slammers and also played for Joliet in 2020 as a part of the Champions Cup when there was no Frontier League season. Prior to that, he played his college ball at Colorado Springs in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. Also clocked in time at the University of Colorado and Saddleback College in Mission Viejo, California. Ofterhide's a righty that stands 6'3" up there on the bump and can throw home with some speed if you're not careful. The men that Ofterhide will face tonight for the Otters, the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game. Brian Rosario plays left, bats first. Batting second is the first baseman, Zach Biermann. Batting third, the third baseman, J.R. Davis. Batting fourth is the designated hitter, Stephen Sinsley. Batting fifth, the right fielder, Elijah Mcnamee. Batting sixth, the center fielder, Miles Gordon. Batting seventh, the shortstop, George Khalil. Batting eighth is the catcher, Brody Tanksley. And batting ninth is the second baseman, Andy Armstrong. I am glad to see Justin Felix getting the night off, giving an opportunity to Brody Tanksley as well, a man who I am sure is very hungry for this opportunity and is glad he is going to get to be back up there on the mound, or behind the plates, but up there on the playing surface for the Otters tonight. Final warm-up pitch has been tossed, the anthem's been sung, the lineups have been announced, and we are finally ready from first pitch for the first time this season here at Dooley Health Group's Field in Joliet, Illinois. Brian Rosario, the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, makes his way to the plate to lead off this game. He's a switch hitter who is batting left to start this one off. Right away, he's having a talk with the home plate umpire, Kurt Brandon, who is sending him back to the dugout. He got right up in his face, to be honest with you. And then he sent him back. He's asking for a new bat, I guess. So I don't know if Brandon didn't like something on the bat of Rosario, but regardless, Rosario's striding in, and now it looks like we are ready for baseball. For real this time. Does look like there's smiles down there, so it must not be that big a deal. And as Rosario strides in, batting left in this game, we have a righty-lefty matchup to start off our game at 6:39 for a first pitch that's on the low inside corner for a called strike one. As we get started this evening, we've got a first pitch temperature of 74 degrees here in Joliet. It has been an absolutely gorgeous week of baseball for the Otters. Although unlike the last few nights, instead of it being mostly sunny, it is mostly cloudy, as there is a little bit of a chance for some rain. A ball hit on the ground to the shortstop, Depreta Johnson. He'll throw to first in plenty of time for out number one. That's going to be my player to watch in this series, is the shortstop, Tyler Depreta Johnson. You cannot say enough good things about the defensive work he does in the middle infield for Joliet. He's playing shortstop tonight, but he is capable of playing second base as well. He is a phenomenal inside infielder. Will remind you a lot of George Khalil and Andy Armstrong. This is a Slammers defense that is rivaling Evansville for one of the best in the entire league. The first pitch to Zach Biermann is taken high and outside for ball one. Following Biermann will be the third baseman, J.R. Davis, here in the first inning. The 1-0. Well outside, make it ball two for Zach Biermann. Jam-packed night of baseball here in the Frontier League. Meanwhile, Zach Biermann ahead in his count all the way out to a 3-0 advantage now. All three pitches have been well outside as well. The 3-0 right down the middle. That one's not a gimme. That's a real called strike. So now we're ready for the 3-1 to Zach Biermann. And it's foul tipped way back towards the backstop behind this ballpark. And I tell you what, you cannot let balls get past you as a catcher here. It's probably 75 feet from home plate all the way back to this backstop. It is a huge amount of space. You've got to be careful as a catcher. The 3-2 to Biermann. Outside ball 4, and the first base runner for the Otters will be via the walk to Zach Biermann. Biermann was the sole Otter last night to pick up a multi-hit game in the 6-1 loss at Windy City. They were both singles for him. So the first pitch now to J.R. Davis. Heads home. And stays a bit low. Dead center, but low. For ball 1. Joliet taking some time to reset as the 0-1 is going to instead go over to first to check on Biermann, who's back in plenty of time. Really good crowd here on a beautiful Friday night for baseball in Joliet. And now an 0-1 on its way to Davis. He hits it on the ground towards the left side. Charging in is Wallace. He'll play to second for 1 to first in time. And it's a 5-4-3 double play that ends the first inning. Evansville gets a man on, can't do anything with him. On the other side, we introduce you to Justin Watland, the starter for the Otters tonight. We're through 1/2 inning, still scoreless from Joliet. And we are set for the bottom half of the first inning. Otters got a man on, but couldn't do anything with him after a double play. Ended things quite abruptly. We are ready to go with the leadoff man for Joliet, Tyler DePrita Johnson, the shortstop this evening. And a first pitch home is a called strike on the low inside corner. Justin Watland is the man on the mound for Evansville this evening. After a couple weeks stint on the IL, he returned to the lineup against Gateway last week as he tosses home a called strike on the inside edge to make it 0-2. He gave up 2 runs on 3 hits in his 5 2/3 innings. He has been exceptional his last, really 5 starts, including a 9-inning complete game in there as well. First pitch to get past Brody Tanksley tonight's an outside fastball that gets all the way back to the warning track. Luckily for the Otters, nobody on right now. Watland has 2 separate games this year with double-digit strikeouts and 3 more with 9 strikeouts. The 1-2 swung on and missed, low and away, and Justin Watland's going to kick off his evening with a German-American Bank strikeout.
Now batting first baseman number 23, Briley Ware.
So Briley Ware is going to stride in. Briley Ware has been one of the best hitters in the entire league all season long. But if you remember back when this Joliet team played at Evansville, his first at-bat of the series, he got hit in the helmet, did not see action for the rest of the series. So I am sure that is weighing on his mind just a little bit because, well, part of it as well is that the man that was on the mound for Evansville in that game was Justin Watland. It was the same matchup we're seeing here. The first pitch home to Ware is near the helmet, and Ware immediately turns away. And now a called strike on the inside edge has evened our count up. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1 is zoomed to the left side, and it's played by Davis. A long throw across is going to be just a little bit late as it escaped his glove for a half second. And I'm sure that'll end up being a single. Hard hit ball to the hot corner. And Davis just lost it as he tried to push himself up off the ground to throw across. And it is a single for Briley Ware. First base hit in this game for either side. That'll bring up Matt Birch, who is a lefty second baseman, batting .299 on the season. His first opportunity is on the inside edge, ball 1. Good stop from Tanksley to smash that ball right there in front of him. Had some rain chances that were set for game time. Those have subsided. Looks like we should be good to get the entire game in this evening, just with some passing clouds. Ball driven out towards center field. Long run for Gordon. He will bring it in for the second out, and because of it, Briley Ware is going to have to retreat back to first. That was a hard hit ball, but it just didn't have enough oomph to get past the quick legs of Miles Gordon. Couple scores already to keep an eye on in the Frontier League. Hands down, the series we got to keep an eye on this weekend is Quebec at Ottawa, the top 2 teams in the East Division. The Capitals already have a 3-2 lead at Ottawa in the 4th inning. I'll keep you updated with that one all evening long. Outside pitch to Paxton Wallace. Starts off the count with ball 1. Wallace enters the game with a .359 average for the third baseman. New York out to a 7-0 start against Trois-Rivières. They're in the bottom of the second there in New York. And elsewhere in New York at Tri-City, the Valley Cats lead Empire State 1-0 in the bottom of the third inning. 1-0 to Wallace. Is left alone for ball 2. It stayed a little bit too far inside. In the battle for the Garden State at Yogi Berra Stadium, the New York Jackals hosting Sussex County, and the Miners are out to a 2-0 lead in the top of the third. They're against New Jersey. Ball driven out towards shallow right. Mcnamee has a long way to run in for it, plants himself underneath it, and a 1-out single will not come back to hurt the Otters. We've played through 1 full inning here in Joliet. We are still scoreless. Top of the second inning here on the Otters Digital Network. Please, you're joining us for a beautiful night for baseball here at Dooley Health Group Field in Joliet. Evansville was held to nothing in their top half of the first. Biermann got himself on with a walk, but Davis grounded into a double play and immediately removed the Otters' opportunity. So it'll be 4-5-6 due up for Evansville. Sinsley, Mcnamee, and Gordon here in the half inning. First pitch home to Steven Sinsley, the lefty. It was a take all the way for ball one. Ended up staying just a little bit high. A little bit of a breeze out towards left center, and I'm told that if that wind starts to pick up out towards left center, as a 1-0 to Sinsley catches the zone for strike one. If that wind starts to carry out towards left center, it creates a wind tunnel in this stadium with it. The way that this ballpark is positioned, the wind whips in here just right, that if the wind is blowing out that way, home runs are easy to hit to left center field. I've been told that that's the place that they see the most amount of home runs here, despite having a right field porch that's only 327 feet. Steven Sinsley ready for the 2-1. Pitch on the way, and he fouls it back into the netting. That will keep our count evened up at 2-2. It is Irish night here at the ballpark. So a lot of green in the stands as well. The 2-2 to Sinsley. Swinging strike three. And the inning will begin with the first strikeout of the day for Cam Ofterhide. So we turn the page to Elijah Mcnamee's first at-bat of the day. The right fielder in last night's game did not manage a hit, but did walk in the ninth inning, was stranded out there at second, however. So Mcnamee ready for his first offering of this at-bat. Pitch is on the way from Ofterhide. And it finds the zone called strike, almost dead center. Fullerton is behind the plate for Ofterhide. That pitcher catcher battery sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East. As an 0-1 is taken on the inside edge for ball one. Count evens up. A long break before the 1-1 pitch, which is on the way now to Mcnamee. Push towards the right side, just foul. Oh my, maybe 1 foot, if that, to the right side of that foul line. Oh, so close to Mcnamee getting himself what probably would have been a double here in this second inning. Some good gusts blowing out towards left field. If Mcnamee is going to get a hold of one and drive it out of a ballpark, that's where he'll go. The 1-2 bounces in on the outside edge. Good stop from Fullerton. Evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Of course, let us know what you got on your docket tonight. You watching the MLB while you're listening to us? You watching preseason football, which is starting this week? Love to hear from you. A check swing, and they asked the first base umpire, Kevin Worth, who says he did not go around. So Mcnamee's going to live to see a 3-2 pitch. Base is empty, 1 out here in the top of the second. A full count pitch to Mcnamee. Swinging strike 3. He was just behind that one. And it's back-to-back strikeouts for Cam Ofterhide to start off this second inning.
Center fielder number 6, Miles Gordon.
So that will now bring in Miles Gordon. The center fielder has himself quite the hit streak going right now. Love to see him extend it here to kick off his day. First pitch to Gordon. Catches the outside edge for a called strike 1. I'm not sure how well you can see it if you happen to be watching on Flow and listening at the same time, but there's a bunch of colored dots sprinkled around the field out there on their turf. I'll continue in a second as the 0-1 comes home. This is high Evens the count at 1-1. The reasoning for all those colored dots out there is this is actually the home for a professional soccer team, too, who plays in the Midwest Premier League. And they use this stadium as well. So they use those dots to help line the field with their more temporary lining. Foul ball is sent off towards the third base side out of the ballpark. Right along the third base side, all the way extended there as far as you can go, is the Amtrak track right to the left side of the stadium. A ball belted to the right side and through for Miles Gordon, and the hit streak hits 20 for the center fielder Gordon. Missed the whole series against Gateway, jumped right back out at it in that Windy City series. And Miles Gordon has extended his hit streak. George Khalil striding in now with a man on first and 2 outs. They're going to go check on Gordon. He's back in time. First pitch to Khalil. Now they're going to check on Gordon again. That was a really close play, but Gordon's back in time. So now we'll get the first pitch to Khalil. No, they go check on the runner again. Gordon once again is back in time. Now the first pitch to Khalil, and it's taken for a called strike nearly right down the middle. The 0-1 to Khalil. There goes Gordon towards second. The throw out looks good, but the ball rolls out of the glove of DePrita Johnson. I think Gordon kind of slid into the glove, and that helped it out. So it'll be a stolen base for Miles Gordon. First, he extends the hit streak, and now he gets himself a stolen base. He is the team's leader in stolen bases right now. That's 18 for him. So now the focus will be solely on George Khalil, who's got a 1-1 count, 2 outs, runner at second. The 1-1, there goes Gordon towards third. He got a beautiful jump. There will be no throw. My goodness, Gordon really jumped that pitch well. And now the job is much more simplified for Gordon. Just drop something, or for Khalil, drop something out there and you can take the lead. 1-2 count for Khalil, 2 outs, runner at third. So even a pass ball now, of course, scores the run. The 1-2, well outside. And the count evens up, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ofterhide's going to take an extra second to reset before stepping back up on the bump. Khalil with a beautiful RBI chance here. 2-2 count, 2 outs, runner at third. The 2-2 taken inside. A check swing is left alone for ball 3. And it will all come down to a payoff pitch. Big chance for Evansville to set the pace in this game. The 3-2 to Khalil is fouled back off towards me. In fact, it's hit the roof or the window about 10 feet ahead of me, or on top of me. Bounced down to a fan back in the third row. He's excited. He's got himself a souvenir. 3 balls, 2 strikes for George Khalil, a chance to give the Otters the lead. The payoff pitch is sent high out towards the right field line. It's foul, but it's in play, and it'll be brought in by Ware for out number 3. Miles Gordon picks up a 2-out single to extend his hit streak to 20 games, steals second, steals third, but he's stranded there, and with it, we head to the bottom half of the second. Still scoreless from Joliet. We head to the bottom of the second inning. Evansville strands a man at third, and that one kind of stings. First man to the plate for Joliet is Jake Ginter, the right fielder. He'll take a ball 1 on the outside edge. Lifts one out towards shallow center. It's actually going to be George Khalil who makes the catch right at the lip where the turf turns green from brown. Is because this is an all-turf field. They just have different color separating the infield and outfield. Regardless, it's a pop out to Khalil for out number 1. So that will bring up Matt Feinstein, the left fielder. First pitch to him. He puts it out towards shallow center field. Long run for Gordon, and he makes a wonderful catch on the run. He had a long way to go. Tell you what, that's one of those plays that I wish that the Yakkertech data would also provide us how much distance a guy covers out there in the outfield, because Miles Gordon took an initial step halfway back, maybe to get himself started, and then his long run forward just barely got to that ball in time, and luckily the chemistry between he and his good friend and roommate Elijah Mcnamee kept them from running into each other out there in right center field. It is good for out number 2 and brings up Carson Maxwell, the DH. First pitch home right across the plate, called strike 1. Watland, I'm sure, wanted to keep that pitch count down, keep himself cruising through these middle innings. 0-1 to Carson Maxwell. Low and in the dirt. Good stop from Sinsley. Count evens up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Second taken before the 1-1. Watland fires home, and it stays high. 4 ball 2. Tried to slow it down and kind of lost the ball as well. The 2-1 for Maxwell. Stays low and inside, make it ball 3. So right now, Watland not able to find the strike zone after a couple of quick outs. A 3-1 makes its way home. Misses low. There's a close pitch there near the knees, but a walk is going to give Maxwell a 2-out on-base opportunity with the catcher, J.P. Fullerton, making his way to the plate now. Otters set up defensively, pretty much straight up all the way around. It's their usual defensive alignment with the rotation at first and left. Rosario's playing left, Gordon in center, Mcnamee in right. As the first pitch comes home to Fullerton, zoom to the left side over the jumping glove of J.R. Davis. And there will be men on the corners as that one gets to the bullpen. No, not men on the corners. Fullerton extends it to a double. So make it 2 men in scoring position after the hard hit double down the third baseline. Otters infield is J.R. Davis at third, Khalil at short, Armstrong at second, Zach Biermann at first. Behind the plate is Brody Takesley. So right after the Otters had themselves a 2-out opportunity, now the Slammers trying to use one right back. 2 outs, 2 runners in scoring position, second and third. First pitch home from Justin Watland to the 9-hole hitter Kyle Jacobson. Is low and outside, ball 1. Defense set up straight up for the center fielder Jacobson. Watland nods towards his catcher Tanksley and fires home on the 1-0. It's off the handle of the bat towards the right side in foul territory. Long run, and Watland's going to make the play himself. Helps himself out with a long run for a pop out to the pitcher. And that is how we will end the second inning. Couple men get on for the Slammers. Watland slams the door. We head to the third. Still scoreless from Joliet. We head to the third inning, and we have a couple of changes on the defensive side of things for Joliet. Briley Ware, the first baseman, is going to go over and play third base, which will replace Wallace, as Bearmore is going to fill in the hole for Wallace in the 4 spot. So add Elaine Bearmore into the 4 spot in the lineup. He'll play first. And Riley Ware is going to go over and cover at third. First two pitches to Brody Tanksley are both inside for balls 1 and 2. Now 2-0, makes its way home. Right back up the middle, through for a base hit for Brody Tanksley. First time he's seen action in a few weeks and picks up right where he left off. Grabs himself a hit.
Now batting second baseman number 1, Andy Armstrong.
So we head to the 9-hole hitter, second baseman Andy Armstrong. In last night's contest at Windy City, Armstrong went 1 for 3. He was showing bunt, pulled away in time for ball 1. The 1-0, he shows bunt again to the right side, right at the first baseman, who will throw it over, and it's a close play. They say out. Armstrong went diving towards first, hands first, but he was just a little bit behind the late throw to Birch, who went over to cover. And when all said and done, it's just a sacrifice bunt. Ended up being a little bit closer than just that, though. But Brody Tanksley does advance to second. So back to the top of the order we go, and the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Ryan Rosario. First pitch home is high and outside, 4-1. Tanksley stands on second. There's one out. As the pitch gets set to head home to Rosario. It's put off towards the left side, right at the left fielder, Feinstein, who will make the catch on the run for out number 2. Unfortunate off the bat there for Rosario.
First baseman number 45, Biermann.
So now Zach Biermann strides in. 1 man on, 2 men out. Otters trying to be the team that sets the pace in this one. First pitch is fouled off towards the left side. In foul territory, chasing in is Ware. And he just barely makes the catch. Was afraid he was going to run into his catcher, Fullerton. And once again, the Otters get a man in scoring position, but then can't do anything with them. We head to the bottom half of the third. We are still scoreless from Joliet. Bottom of the third inning, and back to the top of the order we go for the Slammers. As Tyler DePrita Johnson will kick things off. He launches the ball into the sky, but it's going to be in foul territory. Biermann's underneath it, and that's out number one. Really quick out number one to get things started here.
Now batting third baseman, number 23, Briley Ware.
And with it now, Briley Ware, who's now the third baseman, is stepping up to the plate. First pitch to Ware. Called strike on the outside edge. Tanksley helped it by pulling it in just a little bit. Don't think he really needed the frame job at the end of the day, as it still looked like a good pitch. Watlin's ready to go on the 0-1. Ware stepped in, and here we go. With one out, bases empty, it's outside for ball one. Count evens up at a ball and a strike. With the even 1-1 count, pitch comes home and it hits Ware on the left shoulder. And he gets himself a free base with one out.
Batting second baseman, number 18, Matt Birch.
So the second baseman, Matt Birch, now makes his way to the plate. 0 for 1 with a fly out to center. Birch steps in. Needs a couple hits tonight if he wants to keep his average over, or get his average over 300, as he's at 298 coming into the game. Takes a first pitch ball on the inside edge. One ball, no strikes, as Justin Watlin glances towards first. Fires home. The ball sent on the ground to the right side, past Armstrong and into right field for a base hit. And they're back-to-back men on for the second straight inning for Joliet. Ware at second, Birch at first, with Elaine Bearmore making his way to the plate for the first time tonight. He came in to replace Paxton Wallace after that first inning, after the second inning. Not sure exactly why that change was made. If there was an injury, I didn't happen to see it. But it's now Elaine Bearmore, who enters the game with a 274 average, 26 RBIs, the number he could add to right here. First pitch home, he lifts it down the right field line. Mcnamee with a long run towards it. It's going to end up in foul territory and out of play as well. Even if Mcnamee had gotten over there, there would have been no play. So it's just a really long strike one. And we reset. Runners at first and second, one out, and an 0-1 count to Elaine Bearmore. Pitch sent home, and it's put out towards left field. Dropping back a few steps is Rosario for out number two, and neither runner will be able to advance. So exactly what Evansville wanted, an out that did not enable anything up.
Now batting right fielder number 44, Jake Ginter.
So Jake Ginter now making his way to the plate. He popped up to George Khalil his first time up, was basically dead center in shallow center field. But it was right there at the edge of where the brown-colored turf and green-colored turf meet. First pitch to Ginter is outside ball one. Ginter was signed today by Joliet. A 1-0, almost gets away from Tanksley, but he's able to keep it between his legs just close enough that neither runner will advance. So it goes out to a 2-0 count. Runners at first and second, two outs. 2-0 pitch makes its way home, and it's sent towards Armstrong on a line, and he'll throw to first in time for out number 3. Second straight inning, the Slammers have gotten multiple men on, but they will both be stranded as we head to the 4th. Still scoreless here from Joliet. Top half of the 4th inning here on the Otters Digital Network, and we want to remind you that Evansville Otters baseball on the Otters Digital Network is presented by Budweiser, the king of beers. J.R. Davis set to kick off the away half of the 4th inning, and it's a first pitch strike for him. Following Davis will be Sinsley and Mcnamee here in the half inning. Ball sent on the ground towards second baseman Birch. He'll play it on 2 hops, and the throw to first is able to beat J.R. Davis for out number 1.
Now batting designated hitter number 21,
Steven Sinsley, who struck out his first time up, looking to back that up with a better second opportunity. Long wait. Now we're ready for the first pitch home to Sinsley. Hefty swinging strike 1, but he was just a hair ahead of it. This is certainly a ballpark where if Sinsley gets solid contact towards right, he'll get a home run. It's a very short porch out there. 0-1 for Sinsley. Stays high. Count evens up, 1 ball, 1 strike. Elijah Mcnamee stands on deck. One over the top of the second baseman Birch's head, and it's down into right field for a base hit. First one of the game for Steven Sinsley. And it's a 1-out single for Evansville, their 3rd hit of the game.
Now batting right fielder number 9, Elijah Mcnamee.
Big hit Mac makes his way to the plate. Elijah Mcnamee struck out his first time as well. He's got a runner on first and 1 out here in the 4th inning. Evansville trying to be the team that breaks this game open first. The first hit pitch to Mcnamee. Ooh, beautiful pitch there that catches the outside edge. It came out of the hand of Oftherhide and looked like it was going to the opposite batter's box. Got about halfway home and then turned in towards Mcnamee. Caught the outside edge of the plate. It's an impressive pitch. The 0-1 to Mcnamee. on the way. Stays outside. So even up our count at 1 ball, 1 strike. One. And it's off the edge of the bat. Fouled back towards the backstop. 4 strike 2. A throw over to first, and it just barely gets grabbed by Bearmore. It almost got past, but Stephen Sinsley is back in time. So a second taken before we get started. And the pitch is sent home, fouled back towards the backstop again by Mcnamee. He stays alive, 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes for Elijah Mcnamee. There's a runner on first and just 1 out. Mcnamee gets it off of the handle of the bat and fouled off to the left side, and he's going to have to get a new bat. Must have cracked his just enough. Still looking for the right bat. And it looks like he finally has the one he wants. So another second taken as we wait. One ball, 2 strikes. Mcnamee has himself a new bat. 1 out, 1 on. The 1-2 comes home. Sinsley stealing second, and a missed grab by the catcher Fullerton on the exchange results in a Stephen Sinsley stolen base. Now I apologize. That's not a stat I have readily available as a Stephen Sinsley stolen base. I can't say for certain, but that feels like it might be at tops the 3rd one for him all season, if that. I don't think he's had but maybe 1 or 2 other ones, maybe. It's 2-2 count. Runner at second and 1 out now. Mcnamee's goal now just to make sure you can get the man to third more than anything else. More waiting as Ofterhide looks towards home. And time is called. So for Sinsley, that's his 4th stolen base there. He's 4 for 4 on attempts. I can't believe he has that many. The 2-2 pushed out towards right field. Long run for Ginter. He'll bring it in, and Sinsley's going to try to advance to third on the fly, and he will. Sinsley got a late start as he had to really hustle back to second before advancing. Did get back in time, and Elijah Mcnamee's at bat ends up doing some good. So with 2 outs and a runner on third, Miles Gordon heads to the plate. Already extended his hit streak tonight. Now he can put one into the field of play, preferably past the infield, for an RBI single. Two outs. First pitch home to Gordon is lifted high down the left field line. Feinstein will run towards it at the line over there, and he's able to bring it in for out number 3. Otters strand a man at third for the second time tonight. And we head to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Still scoreless here from Dooley Health Group Field. To the home half of the 4th we go, and Evansville is trying to, at this point, keep the game scoreless, as they have not been able to bring anyone home despite their numerous opportunities. Evansville has stranded 3 so far. Joliet stranded 5 already. First pitch home. It's on the outside edge, ball 1 for Matt Feinstein. He flew out to center his last time up. Two balls, no strikes to the left fielder, Feinstein. Pitch comes home, stays a bit high. Another one stays on the outside edge. This one's called a strike, though. Takes the count to 3-1. Ball put out towards left field. Rosario with a run towards the warning track, looking up, and it's gone. A solo home run for Matt Feinstein has declared the first run of the game in favor of Joliet.
And with that home run, Julian returns for just $2 and take the end of the next inning. Grab your ice cold tea bar at the main bar behind home plate.
So it is the Slammers who get on the board first. Via the big fly, the left center field.
Carson Maxwell.
Pitch on the outside edge. It's good for a called strike 1 for Carson Maxwell. Pitch on the outside edge. Evens the count up. 1 ball, 1 strike. A little bit of a wait before the pitch comes home on the 1-1. It bounces in. Good stop from Tanksley. Keeps the count even. Two balls, 1 strike. And the bat goes shattering as the ball goes down the right field line, or the first base line, I'm sorry. It's picked up by Watland, thrown to first in time for the first out of the inning.
Batting catcher number 14, J.P. Fullerton.
So J.P. Fullerton strides in now with nobody on and one out. By the way, there did go some more lumber for the fire. If you need more lumber, go get it at our friends at Me House Lumber. And taking a first pitch was J.P. Fullerton for ball one. The 1-0. Sent on the ground to the right side. It's going to get fouled, though. Biermann won't have a chance to grab it. So we reset, and a pitcher is sent foul into the netting on the left side. One ball, two strikes for J.P. Fullerton. Ball sent on the ground to the right side into the glove of Biermann. He'll toss it to Watland, who will step on third for the second out of the inning. So the last two outs go 1-3 put out, now 3-1 put out. But right now for Evansville, behind in the game due to that solo home run from Feinstein. Otters just have to make sure they keep themselves within arm's reach. That's where they've struggled the last couple of nights. First pitch to Jacobson. Right down the middle, called strike. Gets things started in the half inning. Will put in play. Straight at Khalil at short. On two hops, the throw to first. Will end the inning, but not before a solo home run for Matt Feinstein puts the Slammers on the board. We're through 4 innings. It's Slammers 1, Evansville 0. To the top of the 5th inning we go. Evansville is going to have George Khalil, Tanksley, and Armstrong due up. But they're now back in the scoreboard 1-0 following that solo home run from Feinstein. Khalil so far in the day, 0 for 1 with a foul out to the first base side. Takes a called strike one to start this count. His foul out came with a runner at third and 2 outs. Otters were oh so close to grabbing the first run of this game, but could not. Another ball off the handle of the bat. That one back towards the netting behind home, and quickly down 0-2 in the count is George Khalil. Temperature continues to fall here in Joliet, as it is a nice night for baseball. Ballson on the ground to the left side, through for a base hit right past the third baseman Ware. Khalil just had so much pent up on that swing that there was no getting to it. It is a leadoff single for Evansville. Currently sits at 73 degrees here in Joliet. No chance of rain now. The clouds are just forming a light little layer over the top of us. And all in all, a nice night for baseball here in northern Illinois, in one of the many suburbs of Chicago. Runner on first, nobody out. And Brody Tanksley ready for his first pitch. It's low and outside, 4-1. Otters are coming back home on Tuesday night. You can catch the game at 6:35 there at historic Bosse Field. It's a Taco Tuesday, and if you have not tried the new Supreme Taco at Bosse Field, you've got to try it this Tuesday night as the Otters welcome Windy City to town for the first of a 3-game set. Wednesday night will be a Senior Connection Wednesday. So all individuals 65 years of age or older, $2 general admission ticket for it. And then on Thursday, we celebrate the second to last Thirsty Thursday of the season. 6:35 first pitch all 3 nights. You can get your tickets now at EvansvilleOtters.com, or you can stop by the Bosse Field box office, I would say probably any time on Monday. There is the River City Wiffle Ball thing going on tomorrow, so it might be a little difficult to get tickets at the gate tomorrow. You could sure try, but I'd say EvansvilleOtters.com probably gives you a better opportunity. 2-0 home to Tanksley, and that's good for the first called strike of the at-bat. Two balls, 1 strike. There's 1 man on and 1 out. That one is another called strike that evens the count up. The 2-2 for the catcher, Brody Tanksley. Stays low, and the count will go to full. Time taken for a second. Tanksley ready, but they're going to throw over to first and set. That's a close play, and luckily for the Otters, Khalil's back in time. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Now for Brody Tanksley. Nobody out, runner at first. Khalil was running towards second, and the ball was just fouled away to keep the count at 3-2. So a quick time taken. And now finally, the 3-2 pitch to Brody Tanksley. Addition number 2. Inside, it's ball 4. There's runners at first and second. Khalil will go to second. Tanksley to first, and Andy Armstrong making his way to the plate. Andy Armstrong at the plate with 2 on and nobody out. A huge chance for Evansville to maybe find themselves a run. Ball sends off towards foul territory, but it will fall before anyone can get to it. So everyone returns back to where they started as we get reset. So glad you're joining us here from Dooley Health Group Field in Joliet, Illinois, one of the many suburbs of Chicago. One of 3 Frontier League teams here within a 30-mile radius. Showing bunt again as Armstrong. It stays high and inside. And the count evens at 1-1. One ball, one strike, 2 on, and nobody out. Long wait for Ofterhide to send it home. Finally ready for the 1-1. Armstrong showing bunt all the way, and it stays too high for him. Ball 2. Great work from Armstrong, too. If nothing else, stay in the head of Cam Ofterhide and make him think about how he's going to throw this pitch. Obviously, Ofterhide does not want to give up positioning out there with 2 men going to scoring position. But with one of the league's best bunters at the plate, there's not a lot of options right now. 2-1 for Armstrong. He shows bunt. He puts it down perfectly to the left side. They'll throw over to first. And it just barely gets there as it almost took the second baseman Birch, who was covering first, almost took him off the bag, but it does get over there in time. It's the second sack bunt for Armstrong on the day. This one moves Tanksley to second, Khalil to third. We head back to the top of the order where Brian Rosario has a chance at multiple RBIs. Rosario's on a little bit of a dry spell right now, as he is 0 for his last 7. Has to go back to the middle game against Windy City to find his last hit, let alone find the last time he got on base. 1 out, runners at second and third. The first pitch to the leadoff man, Brian Rosario. It's sent to the right side, but foul. Brian Rosario, the Edward Jones leadoff hitter once again. He has found incredible consistency in this Evansville lineup. In fact, that's why you're starting to see Baez take some days off. The entire outfield has had to rotate through days off to give time for Rosario as well, because he's such a valuable bat to have in the lineup right now. Two men on, 1 out, and an 0-1 count to the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Brian Rosario. Put right back up the middle into the glove of the pitcher, Ofterhide. They've got a run down there, and there's a play at the plate. It's in time to grab Khalil as he had stranded just a little bit too far off third. He's unable to make it home. Tanksley has to stay at second, and because of it all, Rosario is going to reach first on the fielder's choice.
Now that in first baseman number 45, Zach Biermann.
Officially call it a 1-5-2 that allows Rosario to reach. Now there's runners at first and second with 2 outs, with Zach Biermann heading to the plate. Zach Biermann's another guy who could benefit from this short porch out in right field. I'd like to see him get a hold of something and potentially give the Otters the lead. The first pitch home to Biermann. Taken low for ball 1. George Khalil on that last play was hoping it was going to get over Ofterhide's head and allow him to get home, but unfortunately it did not quite hop high enough, and he got caught between third and home. The 1-0 to Biermann. And he checks his swing, but it's a called strike anyway. Evens our count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Good crowd here on a beautiful Friday night for baseball in Joliet. It's a 1-1 count for Zach Biermann. 2 outs, runners at first and second. The 1-1. Bouncing up the middle. Birch will play it, but it's actually DePrita Johnson who will throw it over to first, and they say yes, he did get the out at first as Bearmore, the first baseman, rolling off of first, barely touched it, I assume. That's why he was called out, and the Otters thought they had a great chance to put a run on the board, but instead they're shut down. We head to the bottom half of the fifth. Evansville still scoreless. And we are at the Center Point Energy center point of the game. Evansville trailing 1-0. The only difference maker right now is a solo home run from the left fielder, Matt Feinstein. Other than that, it's all been elementary. Tyler DePrita Johnson, the leadoff man for the Slammers, back up to the plate for the third time. He's 0 for 2 with a foul out and a strikeout. Starts with a called strike. Now a foul ball to the right side. Takes his count to 0-2. Otters have lucked into another beautiful night for baseball here on this road trip. All 4 nights have been perfect. And a pitch will stay low for ball 1, making the count to 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ball zoomed to the left side is going to get foul and out of play. And the count will remain 1 ball, 2 strikes. Series continues tomorrow night, 6:05 first pitch. You can catch the game right here on the Otters Digital Network. 6:05, 30 minutes earlier than tonight, so keep that in mind. A swinging strike 3, but it was barely foul tipped into Tanksley, and living to see another pitch will be DePrita Johnson. Good a time as any to walk you through what's going through around the league. Another update from Ottawa as Quebec is leading 7-3 in the bottom of the 7th in a battle of the top 2 East Division teams. New York up 11-2 in the bottom of the 5th against Trois-Rivières. Empire State holds a 4-3 lead at Tri-City. They are in the bottom of the 6th. In the battle for the Garden State, Sussex County leads New Jersey 2-1. They're in the bottom of the 6th as well. We'll check back in just a second with the rest of the games. A 1-2 to DePrita Johnson. Sit on the ground towards Khalil. He'll play it on 3 hops. His relay to first. Gets there in time. And it's out number 1. Lake Erie holding a 1-0 advantage, hosting Florence tonight. They are in the top of the 7th right now. Keep an eye on Lake Erie. They're a team trying to make a playoff push as well. In the bottom of the 4th inning, Washington on the road at Gateway. And Washington is holding on to a 4-0 lead right now. This is where they get dangerous as a team, because right when you think you're still within striking distance, they'll put a 3 spot on the board and put you away for good. And that is just the terrifying thing about Washington right now. And the other game that Evansville, of course, will be just keeping a little slight eye on is Schaumburg at Windy City. Boomers hold a 1-0 lead right now If the record, or if both scores stand as they are, Evansville would drop to third. Pitch on the outside takes the count to 2-0 for Briley Ware. Ware started as the first baseman tonight, but something happened with Paxton Wallace at third, so he moved over to third base to cover for him. Pitch on the inside edge takes our count to 3-0. Watland not being able to grab the strike zone right now. 3 balls, no strikes with 1 out and the base is empty. Watland does find the zone just under the elbows for a called strike 1. Ware leads the Slammers with 50 RBIs on the year, and he's done it with just 8 home runs. 3-1 to him. Called strike on the high inside corner. It sets up a payoff pitch for Justin Watland. Defense plays straight up all the way around for Briley Ware, who's ready to go on a payoff pitch. Watland kicks and delivers. Low and away, ball 4. And it's the second walk of the day, or second free pass of the day for Briley Ware. The prior one was a hit by pitch. So Matt Birch, the second baseman, will now stride in. With his hit in the third inning, he raised his average this year to 300 even. Birch 1 for 2 on the day. So there's a man on first and 1 out with Matt Birch at the plate. First pitch home to him, and it's sent on the ground towards Armstrong. He'll relay to second for 1, to first in time. And the Otters in the inning with a 4-6-3 double play. Their first one turned of the night, and we've played 5 full innings. Joliet has the close lead, 1-0 in this one. We've played 5 full innings, and we are still looking for the first Evansville run. Joliet hanging on to a 1-0 lead, courtesy of a solo home run from Matt Feinstein. But that is the only difference maker so far in this ball game. The first pitch home to J.R. Davis. Stays high for ball 1. Davis on the day is 0 for 2, grounded into a double play in the first and sent one right at the second baseman in the fourth for a ground out there. Takes another pitch. This one finds the zone to even the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Every time I look down, this place feels more and more full. A great crowd on hand. As ball 2 misses just a bit high, it takes our count to 2 balls, 1 strike. A 2-1 for J.R. Davis, sent on the ground to the left side. Dupree to Johnson will backhand it. The throw to first is just barely in time. Great play from the shortstop, Tyler Dupree to Johnson, for out number 1. So that'll bring Steven Sinsley to the plate. His last time up, he got a single, his first hit in the game. Stole second and advanced to third on a flyout, but was stranded there at third. Sinsley finally ready for his first pitch of this at-bat. He's 1 for 2 on the day, had a strikeout earlier in the game. Pushes the ball down the left field line. Looks really good towards the corner, and it's going to end up about 6 feet foul down that left field line. Not often you see Steven Sinsley push one that far to the opposite field. Looked good off the bat, but it wasn't quite good enough. And Sinsley's going to take his time walking back towards the dish. Got good contact on that last swing, but not quite enough power to put it down that left field line. It kept rotating and rotating, and that's how it landed just a little bit foul. So we're ready to retry, this time on the 0-1 for Steven Sinsley. There's 1 out, nobody on. The 0-1 pitch. Outside, that evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Neither bullpen is working yet. Both starters have been very good in this one. Ofterhide has thrown 76 pitches, while Watland's thrown 62. 1-0 or 1-1 is swung on and missed by Sinsley. He'll fall back in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now a 1-2 for Steven Sinsley. High outside, and his count evens up at 2-2. They've got berm seating in both left and right field, big grassy areas, and the kids are absolutely loving out there, both sides. 2-2 to Sinsley. Falls low for ball 3. They've also got a huge picnic area, both in the, I want to say on the third base side out towards the outfield, and then there's also a picnic area in dead left field, and both of those are packed as well tonight. So many people standing out there. Payoff pitch time for Steven Sinsley. With 1 out and the bases empty, the 3-2. Swinging strike 3, and it's the second strikeout of the day for Sinsley. And the third total for Cam Ofterhide. So with 2 down in the inning and nobody on, Elijah Mcnamee will make his way to the plate. Mcnamee had a strikeout in the second and then flied out to right in the fourth. First pitch, and it's sent foul right back into the netting, which will drop Mcnamee back 0-1 in the counts. Base paths are empty. There's 2 outs. And Elijah Mcnamee ready on the 0-1. Ofterhide will nod towards his catcher and kick and deliver on the 0-1. Sent hard towards the second baseman, Birch, who easily plays this one over to first for out number 3. Otters don't make much noise in the 6th inning, and because of it, we head to the bottom half of the 6th with the score still 1-0 in favor of Joliet.
Joliet 6. First baseman.
To the home half of the sixth inning we go. Joliet holding on to a 1-0 lead. The only difference maker, of course, being that solo home run that occurred back in the fourth inning. Before we go any further, we do want to remind you that Evansville Otters baseball right here on the Otters Digital Network is presented by our friends at Old National Bank. Your bank for Evansville, your bank for life. First pitch to Bearmore is sent foul down the right field line. And it's going to get actually well foul as it hooked well into the berm. And I see a dog pile of kids. 3 or 4 went diving onto that baseball. And now a called strike quickly gets Watland ahead 0-2 on Elaine Bearmore. Watland kicks and delivers, and it's fouled again to the right side. Good work from Bearmore there to have a close one and foul it away. Oh-2 for Elaine Bearmore. Swinging strike 3, and Justin Watland has finally gotten himself another German-American Bank strikeout, just his second of the day. His first one came all the way back to the first batter of the game, Tyler DePrita Johnson. So the first pitch over to Jake Ginter now. Results in a swinging strike 1. Ginter on the day is 0 for 2, a pop out and a fielder's choice ground out. 0-1. Just barely misses on the inside edge. So that evens our count at 1-1. Oh, 0-1 is swung on and missed. My goodness, Watland had Ginter way out in front of that swing. So the 1-2 heads home. Low and inside. Good stop by Tanksley. But the count just stays even at 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. There's 1 out and nobody on in the home half of the 6th inning. And it stays low and inside. Make it a full count now. Watland was way ahead in this count, and now he's going to have to battle in the payoff pitch. The 3-2. Low and inside yet again, and it's a walk for Jake Ginter. For Watland, a guy who usually has significantly more strikeouts than walks, is now sitting with 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. Matt Feinstein to the plate now. His last time up, of course, had the, right now, game-deciding solo home run. We're going to throw over to first, and Biermann has to leap just a little bit to make sure he keeps that in front of him. 1 out, 1 man on, and the first pitch home to Matt Feinstein. Stays low and outside for ball 1. Watland taking his time before the 1-0 pitch. He's going to throw over to first again. It's a good throw, but back in plenty of time was Ginter. One-0 count to Feinstein, and it catches the zone on the inside edge to even the count up at 1 ball, 1 strike. I told you earlier in the broadcast that the Otters have been historically good in season openers this year. They're 18-7 in game 1 of the series. Another throw over to first, and yet again, Ginter's back in time. That one was much closer, though. The 1-1 falls a little bit too quickly on the curveball there. Got out of the zone in a hurry. 2-1 count. Try again on the 2-1 now, and it's well outside. Ball falls back 3-1. Wallen trying to avoid walking his second straight batter. A 3-1 pitch to Feinstein. Misses at the elbows, and it's back-to-back walks. I'm sure we might see either a quick meeting at the mound or a man start to warm up for Evansville after back-to-back walks here in the 6th. Carson Maxwell will make his way to the plate now. 1 out to 2 on, and I was wrong on both accounts. Nobody warming up, and Max Peterson will not go have a chat with this pitcher yet. Having faith in Watland to see himself out of this tough little scenario. Third time tonight, the Slammers have had multiple men on base. First pitch is a called strike on the outside edge to Carson Maxwell. He watched it go by. Watland taking time to decide on a pitch with his catcher Tanksley. Finally decides, and the 0-1 is sent out towards right field. It's going to get foul and end up on the berm out there. And there go the rush of kids after it. And another dog pile of 5 or 6 of them. 0-2 the count for Carson Maxwell. Justin Watland desperately in need of an out here. The 0-2. Called strike 3 on the inside edge. And it's the 3rd German-American Bank strikeout for Justin Watland.
Number 14, J.P. Fullerton.
That's a much-needed one for him. Now this scenario feels a lot less dangerous. 2 outs, runners at first and second. Watland just needs 1 to get himself out of the tough scenario. Watland ready to go. On the first pitch to Fullerton. It's inside for ball 1. Fullerton is 1 for 2 on the day. Had a double back in the second. And then had a ground out in the 4th on a nice play from Zach Biermann. The 1-0 to Fullerton. Again on the inside. Takes the count to 2-0. Two balls, no strikes, 2 outs, and 2 on. Ball belted into the right field area. It's down for a base hit. 1 run is going to score. They might score a second one. Gordon finally throws it in. There'll be a close play towards the plate, and it will not be in time. It's a 2-run double for J.P. Fullerton. The Slammers might have just found their big hit to give themselves a big enough lead in this one. 3-0 now in favor of the Slammers. Two outs and a runner at second now, with the 9-hole hitter Kyle Jacobson making his way to the plate. First pitch home, swinging strike 1. And now a man will start to warm for the Otters. Looks like Jacob Bowles. This is one of the ballparks that has the mound facing us instead of away from us, so it is hard for me to see the numbers. I know he's thrown to John Anthon, the catcher down there for the Otters tonight. Usually Brody Tanksley is catching for the bullpen, but since he is getting the start tonight, it's John Anthon that's manning things down in the pen. 1-1 count to Kyle Jacobson. There's 2 outs. The man out there on second. Ball sent on the ground to the left side. Through for another base hit. Are they going to wave him home? They are. The throw towards the plate is wide from Rosario. It's another RBI double. This one for Kyle Jacobson, and the lead hits 4. Pretty simple there for Jacobson, just switching places with his teammate Fullerton out there at second. Although I imagine it'll be a single and advance on the throw. Yes, it will. Jacobson just gets a single. And Brody Tanksley runs up to have a quick word with his pitcher, and the entire infield will come in to talk with him as well. J.R. Davis gives a couple of words of affirmation, and 3 runs have scored here in the half inning for Joliet, allowing them to take a 4-0 lead, and now Max Peterson will make the walkout. And the infield will return to the mound with Justin Watland. Still no sign for Max Peterson that he's going to make a change here. And now he takes the baseball, so he will make a change. New arm needed for Evansville. We'll let you know who it is right after this. Justin Watland's day has come to an end after allowing a 4th run here in this one. Otters trail by 4. Still in the bottom of the 6th inning, 3 runs have scored for Joliet, giving them a 4-0 lead. Because of it, a pitching change needed for Evansville. Jacob Bowles will get the nod out of the bullpen. Some of the bullpens presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Bowles on the mound. Tanksley behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Let them know that the Otters public address announcer, Zane Clodfelter, sent you their way. 2 outs, runner on second, and Tyler DePrita Johnson at the plate. The first pitch home from Jacob Bowles. Finds the zone for a called strike 1. Of course, can't quite close the book on Justin Watland yet, as he's still responsible for the man out there at second. So far, giving up 4 runs on 6 hits and 5 2/3 innings. The 0-1. Lifted high, foul. And Biermann is running over there. Will run out of room as he almost went falling into the dugout. But it's just a really tall strike number 2. Take the count to 0-2. Otters desperately need Bowles to find the zone one more time in this half inning. The 0-2 making its way home to Tyler DePrita-Johnson. Low outside, it's going to get away from Tanksley, and Jacobson's going to advance to third. So now that extra run is just 90 feet away. Bowles gets set up on the bump. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 outs and a runner at third. The 1-2 for Tyler DePrita-Johnson. Set on the ground towards Khalil. He'll play it on 2 hops. The throw to first is in time to end the half inning, but not before 3 more runs score for the Slammers. They now lead 4-0 here from Joliet. And as we head into the back third of this one, I want to remind you that Evansville Otters baseball on the Otters Digital Network is presented by Bud Light. Otters are going to have Gordon, Khalil, and Tanksley due up in the half inning, and they have seen their deficit grow by quite a margin. Now down 4-0. They were keeping it close after the solo home run, but Watland walks a couple there in that 7th or 6th inning. And out of nowhere, the Slammers grab 3 runs. First pitch home to Gordon is in there for ball 1 on the low inside corner. The 1-0 stays well outside. The 2-0 heads home. And it misses the zone low for ball 3. Another ball outside and make it a 4-pitch walk for Miles Gordon. His second time on base today, and it's now the third separate time that the Otters have gotten their leadoff man on. But in each of the last 2 times they've done it, they've left the man stranded in scoring position. Slammers are going to get a man to start warming up now. And with it, coach will come out and have a talk with Cam Ofterhide up on the bump after the inning beginning walk for Miles Gordon. Khalil and Tanksley are the other 2 due up, at least right now, in the inning for Evansville. Meeting up on the mound has ended. Coach taking a little extra time on his way back. Probably trying to help buy his bullpen arm a little extra. Of course, it is hard to see with them facing us, but it does look like it's Tanner Keist who's warming up. Tanner Keist who's warming up out there for the Slammers. One man on, no outs here in the top of the 7th inning. Evansville looking for anything right now. I can give them a little glimpse of hope. There we go, check on Gordon. He's back in time, however. Otters trailing this one 4-0 after the big inning from Joliet. Helped keep their lead up there. First pitch home to Khalil. Stays low and inside. Ball 1. I believe there's fireworks after the game as well tonight. They have them every single Friday night here in Joliet. Another check over on Gordon, but once again he's back in time. Gordon had 2 stolen bases his last time on earlier in the game, so rightfully so. Joliet's a little bit worried about him. The 1-0, there goes Gordon towards second, and once again Fullerton tried to exchange to his throwing hand and lost the ball. Because of it, will give up a stolen base to Miles Gordon, his 3rd of the day. And with that, Miles Gordon has just tied Gary Mattis for the most amount of steals in a single game this year for the Otters at 3. The 2-0 is taken for a called strike. 2-1 the count. Gary Mattis did it all the way back on May the 14th, the 2nd day of the entire season. Hard to believe that was 3 months ago in a few days. Crazy how this year has gone by. Khalil puts one on the ground towards DePrita Johnson at short. The throw to first is in time, but because of the stolen base, Gordon's going to advance to third on the fielder's choice. And Brody Tanksley is going to have an opportunity to drive in a run. Tanksley's 1 for 1 on the day. A single and a walk. He's ended up on second in both opportunities. At least right now, Joliet staying with Ofterhide. 1 out. Man on third is Miles Gordon. Brody Tanksley with a huge opportunity to give the Otters at least 1 run in this game. First pitch home well inside on Tanksley. He avoids it for ball 1. It was a good catch by Fullerton behind the plate to keep it in front of him. The 1-0. Push towards the right side, down for a base hit. A run's going to score for the Otters, and Tanksley's got extra bases. He is into second with a stand-up RBI double, and Evansville is on the board. Obviously, the Otters wanted to do that an inning prior when the game was still just decided by 1 run. That is a big one for Evansville. So to the 9-hole we go, where Andy Armstrong is heading to the plate. Both of his at-bats tonight are, well, not at-bats. They're both sacrifice bunts. First pitch to Armstrong. Catches the outside edge, called strike one. Tanksley stands on second. Armstrong at the plate. The 0-1. Armstrong pushes it out towards right field. Ginter doesn't have to move too far for it. Brings it in for out number 2. And Tanksley will not be able to advance. So there will be 2 outs and still a runner at second.
Batting left fielder number 13, Brian Rosario.
Looks like now we might see the change for Joliet. Indeed we will. Ofterhide's day will end with 2 outs and a runner at second. We'll let you know who comes in for him right after this here on the Otters Digital Network. You're home for the Evansville Otters at home and on the road. Call to the bullpen for Joliet in this one. Tanner Keast will get the nod out of that right field pin. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Keast on the mound. Fullerton behind the plate at Pitcher Catcher Battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. Brian Rosario is making his way to the plate. He's 0 for 3 on the day. He's got a chance to bring a runner in. 2 outs, runner at second. Evansville down by 3. Keys taking his time to look in home towards his catcher. Ready for the first pitch to Brian Rosario, who will remain to bat as a lefty. He bunts to the left side, but it ends up well foul. Strike one. Two outs, 0-1 count for Brian Rosario. Man on second. Evansville hoping they can get themselves at least 1 run closer. The 0-1. High outside. The count evens up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Big lead out there at second for Tanksley. A 1-1 comes home. And a half swing from Rosario. He's able to keep himself from pulling the trigger. And because of it, his count goes to 2-1. A 2-1. That's sent foul back towards the padding behind home. Just enough to even the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Don't forget that tomorrow's start time a little bit different than tonight due to the differentiating nights here at Joliet. It'll be a 6:05 first pitch. And a quick meeting now between the manager for Joliet and the home plate umpire. Unsure as to what they're looking at right now. As that was just fouled right back behind home plate. I don't know if it has to do with that last play or what exactly. Jacobson, the center fielder, is saying something. He's way in. Now he's jogging back out to center, so not exactly sure what was going on there. But the count is 2-1. So maybe time was called before that last pitch. Maybe that's what the discussion was. A 2-1, swinging strike 2. That will even the count up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. So that must have been the decision because they went from a 2-2 count to a 2-1. So they must have said time had been called somewhere. And because of it, now we've got a 2-2 count. With 2 outs and a runner at third, Evansville trying to bring one more home. And time is called behind home plate by Fullerton. Yeah, tomorrow a 6:05 first pitch, and then Sunday 1:05 as the series concludes here. Get the guys home a little earlier. A 2-2 makes its way home to Brian Rosario. Swinging strike 3, and the Otters will just get 1 here in the 7th. Because of it, we head to the bottom half of the 7th. Time to stretch from Joliet. Otters trail by 3. We have stretched in Joliet. Otters able to grab a run, but unfortunately for them, they had already put themselves at a disadvantage with that last half inning. And now trail by 3. Briley Ware, Matt Birch, and Elaine Bearmore are the 3 due up here in the half inning. Jacob Bowles returns to the bump for the Otters. First pitch home. Called strike on the high inside corner. Good pitch to start off that count from Jacob Bowles. Attacking the inside edge, gives him a little bit of wiggle room here for the 0-1. The pitch heads home, and it's outside, easy to lay off for Ware. He almost pulled the trigger, but was able to say no to it, and the count evens up, 1 ball, 1 strike. A 1-1 push down the right field line, down for extra bases. There goes Ware around first, and he's actually going to put the brakes on, as it was a wonderful throw for Mcnamee that forced it into a long single.
Now batting second baseman, number 18, Matt Birch.
Matt Birch at the plate now. Nobody out, runner on first. Luckily for the Otters, it's Briley Ware. And for the first time in a few nights, the Otters don't have to worry about anyone stealing. First pitch home is a called strike. A swinging strike, too, as Birch back in the count. Long wait before the 0-2 is standing off a couple of times was Bowles. Now he's ready to go on the 0-2 pitch. It swung on and missed, got him to chase something low in the turf here. And it's the first strikeout of the day for Jacob Bowles, the fourth combined for the Otters pitchers. Elaine Bearmore making his way to the plate with a runner on first and 1 out. Otters could end the inning with a double play. They've turned one tonight already. It'd be great to see him grab a second one here. First pitch home to Bearmore. It's fouled right back into the netting for strike 1. Bowles looks in, has his side. And the 0-1 comes home to Bearmore. It's grounded off to the right side, but well foul. And it's quickly 0-2 for Bearmore. Want to give you a couple score updates from around the league. Quebec still on top of Ottawa. They're in the 9th inning now. Titans down to their last 2 outs. New York is still on top of Trois-Rivières, though the Eagles are trying to come back in it. It's 11-5 Boulders in the bottom of the 7th. Empire State's watch their lead fall as Tri-City's taken a 5-4 advantage in the bottom of the 8th inning. In the battle for the Garden State, the New Jersey Jackals now lead Sussex County 3-2. They're in the bottom of the 8th as well. We have a 9th inning going on now in Lake Erie, where the Crushers lead Florence 2-0 in Sauget, Illinois. The Washington Wild Things lead Gateway 5-1. And the final game of the day, Schaumburg leading Windy City 2-0. They're in the bottom of the 6th inning right now. So no games final yet, as things are taking just a little bit longer on this Friday night around the league. The 1-2 headed home to Bearmore. Outside, make it ball 2. The count evens up. The 2-2 swung on, missed into the glove of Tanksley. And that is a second straight German-American bank strikeout for Jacob Bowles.
Now batting right fielder number 44, Jake Ginter.
So Jake Ginter, the right fielder, will make his way to the plate. 1 man on, 2 men out. Ginter on the day has reached just once on a walk in the 6th inning. Came around to score on Fullerton's RBI double. His first pitch offered to him is a called strike on the outside edge. Good first pitch there from Jacob Bowles. Another one on the outside edge. Evens our count at 1 ball, 1 strike. Bowles sets himself up and fires a 1-1 home. Misses on the outside edge. That's where he's been keeping the pitches. And he falls back in the count now, 2-1. Runner at first is Briley Ware. He reached with a single to start the inning. Now 2 straight strikeouts from Bowles. Set up a fly ball to left field. Rosario will chase in and bring it in for out number 3. Ware gets himself on to start the inning, but 3 straight outs harshly end it. We head to the 8th. Evansville still trails by 3.
First baseman number 45.
Top of the 8th inning. Otters have to find some offense quickly in this one. They are running out of time. Zach Biermann, J.R. Davis, and Steven Sinsley are the 3 that are scheduled to bat here in the 8th. Biermann's 0 for 2, a walk in the first, a foul out in the 3rd, and a fielder's choice ground out in the 5th inning. First pitch home to Biermann. Swinging, strike 1. He was just a little bit ahead of that pitch, which is hard to believe that he was ahead of a pitch that came in at 95 miles an hour. So now the 0-1 comes home to Zach Biermann. Swinging, strike 2. He chased that one to the outside edge. Another pitch outside. This one Biermann lays off for ball one. One ball, two strike for Zach Biermann. There's nobody out, nobody on. Grounds one off towards the left side. Will end up in the Otters dugout. And Justin Felix will make a barehanded grab. So the count's at 1-2 now after the foul ball there. And Tanner Keast fires home. It's fouled back straight into the netting. And we'll stay right where we're at. The 1-2 to Biermann. Well outside yet again. And evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes. Swinging, strike 3, and Biermann will be added to the list of strikeouts on the day. It makes 5 total for the Joliet staff, just the second for Keast. So J.R. Davis now at the plate, 0 for 3, a double play, and a pair of groundouts on his day. First pitch home to him. It's ball one, just above the elbows of Davis on the outside edge. One ball, no strikes. Another pitch home is lifted high, foul, will end up on the roof of the stadium. On the first base side a little bit. And with it, the count just evens up. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's 1 out and nobody on here at the top of the 8th. Otters, as of right now, down to their last 5 offensive outs. Got to get something going quickly. The 1-1. Put out towards center field, and it's going to be down for a base hit. Davis will round first, but he'll be content with a single, his first hit of the day. And it's just the 6th hit of the day for the Otters. So now it's Steven Sinsley making his way to the plate. 1 out, 1 on. Sinsley ready to go. And the first pitch comes home for a called strike on the low outside corner. Otters have Augie Gallardo starting to warm up in the bullpen down there left. As the 0-1 comes home for Steven Sinsley, he lays off it for ball 1. So J.R. Davis stands on first. There's one out here in the top of the 8th. Otters trying to find some offense. A 1-1 to Steven Sinsley. Is grounded off towards the right side. Will end up near the dugout for Joliet. But Steven Sinsley does fall back in the count 1-2. One out, one on, and a 1-2 to Steven Sinsley. Is pushed foul to the left side, will get out of play. Will end up near the train station on the third base side. One ball, two strikes now for Steven Sinsley after a couple of foul balls. Pitch is sent right back up the middle, through for a base hit. Davis is going to round second and try for third, and they will not try to gun him down. There are men at first and third now for Evansville. Kind of looked like the center fielder Jacobson wanted to load up a throw and try to get Davis on the way to third, but then his infield all told him, just hold it for now, don't worry about it. And there's now men on the corners for the Otters with one out, and Elijah Mcnamee headed to the plate. Boy, could the Otters use a big hit Mac home run in a scenario like this. First pitch to Elijah Mcnamee with runners on the corners. And he just barely sends it back up the middle. It'll be played over towards first for the one out, just barely, as it kind of went back up towards the pitcher, Keese, and he thought two times about things. Finally got it to first to get at Mcnamee on the way there, but he does score a run on the 1-3 fielder's choice. Sinsley will advance to second on it, and with it, the Otters have brought themselves to within 2. Miles Gordon at the plate with a man on second and 2 outs. We've seen Miles Gordon homer to right field a few times this year. This is a short porch out to this right field here. Just depends on what he's offered from Tanner Keast. First pitch home. Well inside, and it hits him on the right knee, and he is in a lot of pain right away. And immediately Andy McCauley walks that way, and the trainer Mandy Flake comes running in. Gordon immediately puts his hand up and says, no, I'm okay. Might have just shocked him that it got him that aggressively and that quickly. Gordon's taking off all of his batting equipment, his couple of pads, and handing it off to Mandy Flagg, and now he pops up and will make his walk down towards first. That one just got him on that lead knee, and that never feels good, obviously. Might have just stunned him a bit. He's good to go.
Now batting shortstop number 28, George Khalil.
And we're good to continue. 2 outs, runners at first and second. George Khalil's up next. They're taking a second to let Gordon stretch out. Now he's good to go. George Khalil's 1 for 3 on the day. Had a single back in the 5th. Be great to see him grab another one here. Had an RBI single back in that Windy City series as well. First pitch towards George Khalil with 2 outs and 2 on. Taken for a called strike, was not right down the middle, then just a tad bit to the outside as well. Oh, 1, the count for George Khalil. Well outside, and a good stop from Fullerton to keep it in front of him. And with it, the count evens. The breeze has kind of been on and off recently. It's coming in from the right field area. A 1-1 to George Khalil. 2 out, 2 on. Called strike on the outside edge. That's a good pitch that Khalil decided to lay off on. Otters looking for any sort of additional offenses. They have only scored runs in singles since that first game at Windy City. The last couple of nights have all been solo runs here and there, whether they're solo home runs or they're just bringing in a single run on a base hit or a fielder's choice. That's been all they've been able to manage. They have not put up crooked numbers since those couple of innings that had happened back against Windy City on a Tuesday night. A 1-2 is foul tipped into the glove of Fullerton. The Otters will just score 1 in the half inning. With it, we head to the bottom half of the 8th. Evansville down by 2. And as we head to the bottom half of the 8th, the Otters are going to make a pitching change. Augie Gallardo will into the game for Evansville. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Gallardo on the mound, Tanksley behind the plate. Pitcher Answer Battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Due up in the half inning for Joliet, Matt Feinstein, Carson Maxwell, and J.P. Fullerton. 2 of the 3 who are responsible for the 4 runs thus far for Joliet. First pitch home is high and inside for ball 1. The 1-0 pitch on its way. Misses low, and the count evens up at the count falls to 2 balls, no strikes. A high inside pitch takes us to 3 balls, no strikes now. Gallardo just struggling to hit the zone right now. Called strike just above the knees finally gives Augie Gallardo a strike in the count. A 3-1. It is sent foul off to the right side. Is going to end up well out of play. We've got a full count. Takes a couple of weird jumps and ends up in the hands of a fan in the front row down there. So after the count was 3-0, it's now a full count for Matt Feinstein. Gallardo gets one right back up the middle, goes catapulting off of the mound and into center field for a base hit. Second hit of the day for Feinstein.
Now batting designated hitter number 28, Carson Maxwell.
And now Carson Maxwell will walk to the plate. Maxwell is 0 for 2, a walk in the second. And then a ground out and strikeout round out his day. Gallardo has his sign from his catcher, a quick glance towards first. And the first pitch comes home for a called strike, almost right down the middle. Now an 0-1 for Gallardo, who got the slider action, working towards the outside edge. And he takes an 0-2 count lead in the count at this point. Gallardo trying to grab out number 1 here in the half inning. Well outside for ball 1. That one just worked too far away from the plate. Runner on first is Matt Feinstein after the leadoff single here in the 8th. And a 1-2 count to Carson Maxwell. Heads home for Augie Gallardo now. It's down in the dirt for ball 2. Two balls, 2 strikes, no outs. And Feinstein stands on first for the Slammers. The 2-2 is put in play towards Cleo at short. He'll make the play to second for 1. Over to first in time. And it's a 6-4-3 double play that certainly helps the Otters out here. So with now nobody on and 2 outs, J.P. Fullerton makes his way to the plate. His last time up, there was 2 men on in front of him, and he brought them both home with a 2-run double to right field. Right now, that is the game-deciding RBI. First pitch home to Fullerton, right across the heart of the plate for a called strike 1. Defense set up now, straight up all the way around. That was a 1-0 swung on and missed to even the count up at 1 ball, 1 strike. J.P. Fullerton already has 2 doubles on the day. After the hefty swinging strike from J.P. Fullerton, we're even at 1 ball and 1 strike. It stays just a hair outside, takes the count to 2-1. So now 2-1. Big slider comes in for a called strike 3. And Augie Gallardo gets himself out of the inning with a nice pitch there. After they allow the leadoff single, a double play helps out. And we head to the 9th. Otters need 2 to tie and keep this one going. It's coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network. Top of the 9th. All comes down to this. The Otters need 2 runs to extend this game. They're going to be facing the closer of Joliet, the lefty, Tyler J. This call to the bullpen presented by our friends at Business Communication Solution. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. First pitch to Brody Tanksley is taken for a called strike. It's Jay on the mound and Fullerton behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East. A hefty swinging strike 2 has Tanksley back in the count 0-2 now. And right now, Andy Armstrong is looking like he's going to be pinch hit for as Jeffrey Baez is standing in the on-deck circle, warming. Called strike 3 to Brody Tanksley on the inside edge. Looked low and inside, but it is a called strike 3 that kicks off this 9th inning. So Evansville down to their last 2 outs, and it'll start off now with Jeffrey Baez with nobody on and one out. Baez pinch hitting for Andy Armstrong. Baez ready to go at the plate. The first pitch towards him is taken inside for ball one. The Otters have had troubles with lefties all year long. See if they can change that outcome here. A 1-0 is sent high, foul to the right side. It's going to end up on the concourse up there. But all it does is even the count up at 1 ball, 1 strike. A 1-1. Nice pitch that stays just too high for ball 2. It had the right movement towards the plate, but it didn't quite get the break it needed to fall into the zone for a called strike. Baez lifts a ball up towards mid-deep center. Jacobson seems to be underneath it, and indeed he is for out number 2. And the Otters down to their last out in this one. It'll have to be the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Brian Rosario, who keeps things going. And we'll have another pinch hitting opportunity. Will not be Rosario. Tanner Craig will get the nod here in the Edward Jones leadoff spot. First pitch to Tanner Craig, taken for a called strike on the low inside corner. A lot of trust to have in a rookie like this, playing in his first handful of games, and a game kind of on the line here, trying to extend the game at least, and trusting the rookie to get himself on base. He has a swinging strike 2 low and away, and he's down to his last strike. If he could get on, Zach Biermann would be due up next. Otters down to their last strike. The 0-2 is on the way from Tyler J. Swinging strike 3, and that's how this one ends. The Otters fell behind early with a solo home run that took place in the 4th, and Joliet never looked back from there. They added 3 more runs in that 6th inning to take their 4-run advantage. From that point on, the Otters were able to grab a couple of runs, but they were just singular runs here and there. Nothing enough to come back in this one. And they fall 4-2. They were also out hit 8-7. Both squads with the entire game committing no errors. That is a positive, at least, for both squads. Evansville just kind of silenced in this one. Didn't really have anything working for him. Brody Tanksley was the standout in my book. Went 2 for 3 with an RBI double in there as well. Both of his hits were doubles. Steven Sinsley also had a multi-hit day for Evansville. 2 singles for him. Justin Watland is going to be the one who receives the loss in this game. He gave up 4 runs on 6 hits in 5 2/3 innings. He walked 4, struck out just 3. That was the big deal breaker for him. Is that those 2 that he walked prior to the 2-run double really killed him and put him in a tough situation to keep himself alive in this one. Jacob Bowles came in for an inning and a third. Gave up no runs on just 1 hit, struck out 2 in his time. And then Augie Gallardo was the one who closed the final portion of the game out for Evansville. He gave up no runs on 1 hit in his 1 inning as well. A couple of the scores we wanted to check on, of course, that have to do with the Otters. Washington's holding on to a 5-2 lead in the bottom of the 8th game. Schaumburg holding on to a 2-1 lead at Windy City in the bottom of the 8th. So we won't quite know until a little bit later in the evening as exactly where the Otters are going to fall. If Schaumburg holds on, Evansville will fall to the third place spot here in the West Division. Certainly where they don't want to be right now. I want to say thank you for taking your time to tune into the Evansville Otters here on the Otters Digital Network. You do a lot of things with your Friday evening. We're pleased that you decided to spend it with the Evansville Otters. Evansville's going to try to bounce back tomorrow night. They've lost 3 straight, and see if they can find a recipe for success. We don't know the starter yet, as Evansville is turning over to a new rotation. Obviously, Watland being the last of the current rotation, so we'll see exactly who it is tomorrow morning. I'll let you know when we get set for game time tomorrow evening who will go for Evansville. Whoever it is going to face off against Steve Moyers, the lefty for this Joliet team. Otters have struggled against lefties. We'll see if that favors Joliet at all. And Steve Moyers making his first start of the year, by the way, there for Joliet. So we'll have a bunch more about him and whoever is going to start for Evansville tomorrow night. We're starting at 6:05, 30 minutes prior to when we started tonight. That's the official start time here in Joliet. Just a reminder, 6:05 p.m. Make sure that you're ready to go for Evansville Otters baseball here on the Otters Digital Network. So pleased you've joined me for another edition of Evansville Otters baseball. I'm Matthew Will, saying so long from beautiful Joliet, Illinois. Talk to you tomorrow night as the Slammers and Otters continue their 3-game set. Have a great night.